My name is Councillor Debbie Arnott and I'm the Mayor of Warrnambool City Council, and I will be chairing tonight's council meeting. I'd like to formally welcome everyone watching this council meeting. This council meeting will be live streamed to allow for public viewing and transparency, and if any technical problems interrupt the live stream during this meeting, the meeting will be adjourned until the issues are rectified. This scheduled council meeting will be conducted in accordance with council's governance rules, and any interruptions to the meeting or actions not in line with behaviour expectations will be dealt with in accordance with these rules. We'll now proceed to I'll ask the councillors to stand for the opening prayer and acknowledgement of traditional owners. We will now proceed to the items of the agenda, commencing with the opening prayer and an acknowledgement of the traditional owners. Almighty God, grant to this council wisdom, understanding and sincerity of purpose for the good governance of this city. Amen. I wish to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we stand and pay my respects to their elders past and present. Thank you. Ooh. Are there any apologies for this meeting? No, thank you. Councillors, at item 3 on the agenda, we have a recommendation before us to confirm the minutes of the scheduled meeting of council held on the 3rd of April 2023 with an amendment to the minutes of the council meeting held on the 1st of August 2022. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? Do I have a mover? Councillor Taylor, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'd like to move that the minutes of the scheduled meeting of council held on the 3rd of April 2023 be confirmed as per officer's recommendation be accepted. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. The motion is carried. We'll move to item 4, conflicts of interest. If a councillor has a conflict of interest, they must declare it now and do so again just prior to the item being discussed. A councillor who has declared a conflict of interest must leave the meeting and remain outside the room while the matter is being considered or any vote is taken. Once the matter is resolved, the councillor will return to the meeting. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interest? No, thank you. Just move on to the mayoral presentation, item 5. Last week as a community we celebrated Anzac Day, and it was really good to know that this was open to the public after such a long time because of the disruptions caused by the pandemic. We did have a really, really large crowd, and it was deeply moving to see so many people paying their respects in what is traditionally a very important day for Australia. And tomorrow kicks off the beginning of our iconic May Race Carnival. 3 fabulous days of fun, fashion and of course racing. And I'm excited to see who will take out the Grand Annual this year. And just like to wish all our local trainers and jockeys a successful carnival. And my only tip is to follow the locals, probably Kieran Ma. And they always seem to be able to produce some winners. So good luck to all involved, and I hope we have an amazing 3 days. Thank you. CEO, do we have any public questions?
Mayor, we've got one public question which I have been asked to read out, and I'll do an answer afterwards. So the question is from James Dunbar of Logan's Beach Road, and James is here today. The question relates to seismic testing in the Otway Basin. So the question, the preamble, the question is, Warrnambool City Council voted to support Fight for the Bight, opposing high risk deep water drilling in the Great Australia Bight, and Warrnambool City Council has also declared a climate emergency. There is a current proposal by ConocoPhillips and 2 other companies to undertake seismic testing in the Otway Basin off our shores, including the Bonnie upwelling and this will have a devastating impact on marine life and ocean ecosystems, and impact businesses, jobs and the economy of Warrnambool. Threatened and endangered species such as southern right whales and leatherback turtles will suffer, along with a variety of other marine life, which James has outlined those, but I don't plan to read them all out. The reputation of and income from tourism will be damaged, as will the fishing industry, both amateur and commercial, leading to effects on other associated sectors, businesses and individuals across the region. So the question following the preamble is, will Warrnambool City Council join Surf Coast Shire and Colac Otway in opposing seismic testing in the Otway Basin? So in responding to that question, James, I would note that the matter hasn't yet been considered or discussed by this council. It's noted that seismic testing will occur in Commonwealth waters, and as such, local government will not have a statutory role in overseeing it, or we won't get a say in the actual approvals or refusal of the seismic testing. That being said, I will seek organise a briefing with information for councillors in the near future, and we can have a more considered discussion.
Thank you. No further questions?
No further questions, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So we'll now move on to the agenda. Councillors, we're now moving to the officers' reports section of the agenda. I would like to remind you of the speaking times allocated for each item during the meeting as outlined in our governance rules. The mover of a motion may speak for a maximum of 5 minutes to open the debate, and then a further 2 minutes later on to exercise their right of reply and to close the debate. Any other councillor, including the seconder, may speak for or against a motion for no more than 3 minutes. To assist councillors with time limits, you will hear a signal when you have reached the maximum time allowed. I would ask you to respect the time limits, please. Item 7, reports. 7.1, activities and initiatives 2022-2023, January to March, quarter 3. Agenda page number 5, Director Corporate Strategies. This report provides information on the progress in achieving the activities and initiatives ANI set down for 2022-2023 as part of the council plan and budget process. This report provides council and the community with an update in the progress of actions across council's functional areas. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Ziegler, what is your motion?
That the activities and initiatives 2022-2023, January to March, quarter 3 be received.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. Councillor Ziegler, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The activities and initiatives is actually, it looks, if you read the graph that we've got there, it looks like there's an awful lot that's progressing, and a minor percentage that's completed, but the way the statistics are read, the progressing is actually more effectively understood if you think that a lot of the activities and initiatives are actually being achieved but are still ongoing. And that's probably the best way to understand it. It's not as worrying as the graph makes it look.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to highlight a few things from the ANIs for that quarter. It's pleasing that cultural care workers become involved through maternal child health team. And there are some really good renewal projects that have been completed and some further maintenance for the Warrnambool Stadium, and that's to keep up with extra demand with winter participation. It looks like the Archie Graham Centre is providing an assortment of programs and activities for older community members, which I think is a really valuable service It builds social engagement and can upskill many people. There's also the Share the Load laundry project, which provides an affordable and accessible laundry service to vulnerable people who are referred through. Also, what's been covered in the media as well is Unretiring the Bull project. So that allows retirees to register and then connects registered businesses also to these keen individuals. And I think this could be a fantastic fit for a lot of small businesses out there in the community. And one in particular is Council's Events and Promotions branch providing a new funding round, which will be announced this month. The round has 4 categories and will deliver up to $130,000 in total across the next financial year. So I'd encourage the community to keep an ear and eye out and apply when this funding round opens. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Is there any other councillor? Councillor Jolly.
Thanks, Mayor. Yes, a lot of different things, as Councillor Paspaliaris has put forward, happening, which is great. One particular one is fabulous to see the continuing and very important work at the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House, which provides so many services and activities for their local community in the West area. They offer key programs which improve community engagement and much needed social connection for a lot of those people there that otherwise might not have that. They put on a lot of different programs for the children, adults, everyone. They assist in, you know, if someone needs to fill out a form or something like that and hasn't got the confidence to do that, staff will assist with that. In this last quarter, they've distributed 625 kilograms of food hampers from Food Share to these families requiring assistance. Now, that's a lot of food and that's fabulous that people have access to that through the West Warrnambool Neighbourhood House. So thanks to associated staff and volunteers for this service made possible. And it's an ongoing, it's one of those ones that Councillor Ziegler identified. It's one that will be ongoing because it continually puts that service out. So that's great.
Thank you, Councillor Jolly. Is there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. It is pleasing to see that the quarterly meeting held on the 23rd of February between Council and the Eastern Maar Aboriginal Corporation was organised where a range of governance issues were discussed and finalised. Council continues to participate and support the community group through exhibitions showing Indigenous voices through the Warrnambool Art Gallery, a public lecture series that will bring into fold Aboriginal knowledge through the Warrnambool Library, showcase Indigenous culture through the development of a community site at Lake Bateau, and finally providing support to Eastern Maar's new tourism developer at Council. Also, it is good to see library participation has increased from 11% to 17% over this quarter. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there any other councillors who wish to speak? No, I'd just like to add, it seems to be that we're nearing the end of a financial year. We seem to have ticked off a lot of projects. There's a lot of positive things happening, and it would be great just to be able to keep those community projects going and moving forward. So thank you. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to close the debate?
Just quickly, thank you, Mayor. Yes, amongst all the good news that have been mentioned by my colleagues there, we have to be conscious of the fact that there are projects which are still ongoing and which require our attention and that of our officers, and I'm sure that they'll pay good attention to all of that. One of the things that I'm particularly pleased with is that we customer service charter, which is reflected in improved customer service and responses to the community, has been improved, and that's been one of the things which has shown to be attained to 100%. The other thing that I'm very pleased with clearly is that there's increased access to participation for all abilities and raising awareness. That's an ongoing aspect of our activities, and it must be pleasing for all our officers that we've actually achieved a lot of that, 75% according to our graph. It's clearly something that's ongoing. The other thing that I'm really very pleased with amongst the activities and initiatives is that we've developed a range of council activities and events to encourage participation from a diverse range of groups within our community, and there's an item on the agenda later which reflects that particular activity and initiative. So yes, I'm very relatively happy with the way things are going in that respect.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to the item 7.2, the March 2023 monthly financial report, agenda page number 7, Director Corporate Strategies. This report updates Council on the financial performance for the 9 months ended 31st of March 2023. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'd like to move a motion that the quarterly financial report for the period January to March 2023 be received as per the officer's recommendation. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Although this report indicates an unfavourable financial position of $0.356 million to the forecast, it is not alarming as it sounds, as an updated forecast in March takes in future savings and salaries due to vacancies totalling $944,000. The net impact forecast shows a favourable increase for the full year of $1.665 million, which mainly relates to savings in salaries, increased revenue at holiday parks and Flagstaff Hill, and higher interest of investments and supplementary rates. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I think it's, on one hand, positive, but also concerning that council have had a total of almost $950,000 savings due to staff vacancies over the 3 months. And whilst it's a saving, I think it must be felt at the other end with an impact on council service provision. The other thing I'd note is it is a bit of a shame that the Warrnambool Airport, the hard surface project came in over budget by, I think it was $145,000 due to pavement issues after the project commenced. However, this will be covered by an adjustment to Council's road and pavement program. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Do any other councillors wish to speak to this motion? Thank you. As Councillor Taylor has said, if the first look at the results look to be unfavourable, but as this is an updated forecast, it shows a favourable forecast. As Councillor Paspaliaris has said, this is mainly savings from salaries due to vacancies. We have had increased revenue from holiday parks and Flagstaff Hill, and we are getting a higher interest rate on our investments. The challenges moving forward will be the staff vacancies and when they're filled, and to make sure that we do have a budgeting allowance for that, and to also maintain our customer service. So there being no further speakers, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close?
No, thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Okay, thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. We'll now move on to item 7.3, the draft budget 2023-24, agenda page number 8, corporate strategies. To consider releasing Warrnambool City Council's 2023-24 draft budget for community exhibition and to invite submissions from the community about the budget. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Paspaliaris, what is your motion?
I move that council endorse the 2023-24 draft budget to proceed to public exhibition and invite public submissions in accordance with Section 55 of the Local Government Act 2020. Authorise the Director Corporate Strategies to give public notice in accordance with Section 94 of the Local Government Act 2020 of council's intention to adopt at a council meeting proposed to be held at 5:45 p.m. on Monday 26th of June 2023, the 2023-24 Warrnambool City Council budget. In accordance with council's community engagement policy, consider and if requested in writing, hear any submissions received in relation to the 2023-24 draft budget at its formal meeting on Monday, June 5th, 2023.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I will. Thank you, Mayor. It's obviously this motion is to endorse the budget going out for public feedback, but I think it's worthy to note that the theme of this year's budget centres around a financially responsible framework for council to continue delivering services and also infrastructure. It describes and resigns to a modest capital works program with some consideration given to obviously how much of an impact increasing construction costs, limited resourcing to carry out project works has become. The budget proposes no new borrowings for the 23-24 financial year. It also proposes maintaining the $200 hardship rebate for those eligible. So I'm happy for the budget to go out for consultation and remind the community that people wishing to make a submission can do so via council's website or in writing, and that you can speak to your submission at the council meeting on June the 5th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
I do, thank you, Mayor, yes. This particular motion is about putting out the draft budget to the public, and I exhort any resident that has comment about the budget to actually make the effort to make the comment public so that we've got feedback to know how to operate and how to act with the budget. As Councillor Paspaliaris has mentioned, I believe that it's a responsible budget in the face of increasing costs that we've had to take into consideration. But it's important that the community feels as if they've got a say in this. And I, for one, will be taking notice of what has been sent back to us as feedback about the draft budget. So I suppose the best message I can give is that we want to have that feedback. We want the community to give us the feedback that we need to make the decisions.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Blaine?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Councillor Ziegler's right. This budget at the moment, it does take into account the 3.5% rate rise. And it's important that if Warrnambool isn't happy, to make sure that there are submissions put in to ensure that, you know, at least there is a voice there. If cost of living pressures are greater than if cost of living pressures, it's a balancing act between cost of living pressures and services. Always remember that when it comes to council budget. One thing that I would like to say is the budget's not set in stone, and one project that I'm actually really excited to see, this shows how much council actually believes in it, is the implementation of the Brierley Master Plan. Council's prepared to invest in that because we can see the need for this in North Warrnambool, and I think this is one of the crown jewels of the budget this year. It's the preparation for the continued growth of the north of our city. So I'd look forward to reading all the submissions coming in June. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the item? Councillor Koch?
Thank you, Mayor Annette. I add my voice to my colleagues who said it is exciting that we have a budget and it's going out to the public for the feedback that we need to have input from the public, because it is all our responsibility to have this budget and anyone have a say in it, in this decision making. So I'm really excited to see the comment from the public about this particular budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Koch. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to the motion? Councillor Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. We all know inflation is extremely ripe at the moment, and in a lot of industries it's going up between 5 and even 15%. So for our rates to be increased by 3.5%, which is in line with the Victorian government rate cap, I find that quite fair, considering a lot of other inflation prices at the moment. And I also thoroughly endorse my fellow councillors' submissions to have the community involved and have their say in the budget, and make sure they come along to be invited to attend the council's formal meeting on June the 5th to speak in support of their submissions. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to the budget? I feel our draft budget is actually very responsible, achievable and quite balanced. The cost of living pressures, they don't only just cost the community, they also cost council. You know, we're running at an inflation rate of 8%, but council is only increasing rates by the 3.5%. So council actually has to absorb those costs. We are proposing the 3.5% inline rate rise, which is in line with the Victorian government and all other local governments around. We're well within a normal range of that. I do invite the community to actually put some submissions in. This isn't this is only a draft budget at this stage, so we do welcome input. We will look at every submission that is put towards us. This budget isn't a budget of shiny big new things happening. We're being quite conservative. We're working on finishing off projects that we already are in the pipeline, and we're not borrowing any further money. We're trying to keep the debt level at a very reasonable rate. So all in all, I think this is a very responsible budget. So thank you. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak or close the debate? Thank you. Being no further speakers, I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We will now move on to item 7.4, the Council Plan, 2021 to 2025. The 2023 review, activities and initiatives, agenda page number 12, corporate strategies. This report provides the revised activities and initiatives which is proposed will be included in the revised Council Plan 2021-2025 2025. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No, thank you. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'd like to move that the council endorses the revised actions and initiatives in the council plan 2021 to 2025 and releases the revised plan for your community feedback. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. Council will undertake to deliver on the 5 objectives described in the plan. I would encourage the Warrnambool community again to comment and make submissions on the revised council plan. For those making a submission and wish to speak directly to the council, they have this opportunity at an open council meeting in support of their submission. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Do I have a seconder? Sorry, Councillor Ziegler, you are the seconder. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I'll repeat what Councillor Taylor said. Again, in this circumstance, the activities and initiative for the council plan, we need the community feedback. And it's really the only way we can be responsive to community wants and needs is if they contact a councillor and talk to us about it. We welcome that kind of feedback and we can modify whatever we need to in the plan when we receive the feedback. So again, I exhort the community to talk to us about it.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak before closing the debate?
No, thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you. Now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. We'll move on to item 7.5, the additional community membership of council advisory committees, agenda page number 15, directed at Executive Services. This report considers additional community membership appointments to council's 4 advisory committees: the Community and International Relations Advisory Committee, Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee, Environment and Sustainability Advisory Committee and the Planning Advisory Committee. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. What is your motion?
That the following community member appointments be made to the council advisory committees for the period 1st of May 2023 to 31st of May 2025. Community and International Relations Advisory Committee, Daisy Yeh, Cameron Burgess, Carly Jordan. Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee, Sarah Fitzgibbon, Zita Tattersall and Rod Brugman. Environment and Sustainability Advisory Committee, Juan Donis, Andrew Schultz, Danielle Rizzo. Planning Advisory Committee, Willie Benter, Kerry-Ann Tatchell and Cameron McNeil. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor. I think it's a timely option to advertise, to have advertised and to have received some very keen individuals for these council advisory committees. There has been a little bit of difficulty obtaining quorum for some of the meetings. I think increasing the number of members is a really good idea generally, but also to invite people who are very enthusiastic and passionate about the different committees to actually put their hand up and contribute. I think it's really very pleasing to see that we've had a lot of interest and I support the addition of these members to the relevant committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. I'd just like to make comment that the range of applicants who put their hands up was very impressive. The credentials we saw in the applications was wonderful, and I'm very pleased with the folks that have been appointed. And really, we could have appointed any one of the applicants. The credentials that they showed were, as again, I say, very impressive. I'm particularly happy with the appointments we've made.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Taylor?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'd like to endorse my fellow councillors' comments, as it'll be extremely beneficial to have the advisory committees who sometimes have difficulty in obtaining a quorum for meetings, to have the 3 additional members appointed to these committees. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? No. This has been really quite heartening to see so many people put their hands up for these committees, and as Councillor Ziegler has said, it was quite a difficult decision because we had many to choose from, but it is important on these advisory committees that we do achieve a quorum, so all in all I think it's been a really good turnout. Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to close the debate? No, thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 7.6, 15 McKernan Road, PP 20222-0197, agenda page number 17, directed city growth. This report summarises the planning assessment that provides a recommendation for the application to develop the site known as 15 McKernan Road, Warrnambool, with 2 double-storey dwellings, and recommends that council issue a notice of decision to grant a permit subject to conditions. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No? Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, thank you. What is your motion?
I would like to move that the motion as per officer's recommendation be accepted. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Jelly, thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'm extremely aware of the objectors to this motion, but I'm quite confident with the council's 8 conditions that the developer will have to abide by. Will make sure that all the objectors' needs are cared to. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Thank you. Yes, agree with Councillor Taylor about the conditions, stormwater management, all that sort of thing. This property was public housing prior to this plan, and it will give an additional public housing. So I think it's such an important and vital plan, and when there's public housing in short demand. So I think I support the officer's recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Jelly. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak to this motion? Councillor Blaine?
I totally agree with what Councillor Jelly and Councillor Taylor have said. It is a really exciting application. I understand where the objectors have come from, but as Councillor Jelly pointed out, it was public housing before this development, and it's something that's so critical to our city at the moment, is the shortage of housing, especially public housing, so I'm happy to support the recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Does anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Paspaliaris?
Thank you, Mayor. I too acknowledge the objectors' concerns, which are, as I see it, mostly around drainage and flooding risks. I think that council, as the responsible authority, will, in essence, have to work with the applicant to achieve a high-level acceptable stormwater management plan before construction can even begin. So I think that this being a major issue, there will be a thorough process before anything starts with the project. The other concern that I noted was where there was some overlooking with the two new dwellings being two-storey. It does state that the upper bedroom windows that look towards the rear are sitting at over 14 metres from the rear boundary, and the requirements state a minimum of 9 metres. So this aspect is well and truly satisfied, which I'm comfortable with. I also think that there is sufficient garage for 1 car per dwelling, and then also the driveway is long enough to support a second car in that area on both sides. So I am comfortable to support this application. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Paspaliaris. Does any other councillor wish to speak to the motion? Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. I thought, Councillor Kosh, I didn't see your hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Mariana. Yeah, I do concur with my colleagues in what they have stated. As we all know that we are in that need of affordable accommodation here, and I think it is necessary to pass this motion because of the need that we are facing. I'm happy to support it with attached conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kosh. Does anyone else wish to speak to the motion? Thank you. Yes, we do take on board the objections concerning this property, but as my colleagues have said, there's a number of conditions that need to be carried out and adhered to, but there is no denying that we have such a need for some more affordable housing or social housing. So I think we need to support this proposal. Being no further speakers, Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close the debate?
No, thank you, Mariana.
Thank you. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 7.7, the Community Development Fund 2022-2023, agenda page number 21, Community Development. This report provides information on the Community Development Fund 2022-2023 application and recommended allocations of grants for approval. Councillors, are there any questions before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Blaine, what is your motion?
I'd like to move, sorry, excuse me, I've got a frog in the throat. I'd like to move that we approve the allocation of $110,036 to fund 29 community clubs and organisations under the Community Development Fund 2022-2023 program, and request that all applicants be advised of the outcome of the assessment process where applicable. Council guidelines council guidelines associated with the grant.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler, thank you. Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes, I'd just like to say thank you for all the groups that put in for the Community Development Fund this year. And look, there was room for more. We didn't quite use all of the 140,000 that we did have in the funding, and some of it will be rolled over to next year. Congratulations to all the the grant recipients, and look forward to continuing to support you and anyone else who wishes to apply into the new year. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Blaine. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I do, thanks, Mayor. This is always a feel-good motion to be able to put for a decision because it represents ways in which these community groups can actually make big steps forward with their requests and then their needs being met with council funds. It's terrific when you see the range of groups that have been received benefit actually from these grants. It's not just the sports clubs and things. It's things as obscure and perhaps as unknown as the Model Railway Club and the Camera Club and Warrnambool Ultimate receiving benefits from these grants. I think it's marvellous that we're able to do it. I think it's marvellous that the community actually understands that some of their rates go to this kind of benefit. So I'm happy to support it. I think it's great.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Are there any other councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No. Obviously, as Councillor Ziegler has said, this is a really good feel-good thing. We're able to actually put some funds back into some small clubs within the community. It's always nice to be able to hand them out, and I'm sure they are much appreciated. Being no further speakers, Councillor Blaine, do you wish to speak before closing? No worries. I'll put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Passed unanimously. Thank you. We'll move on to item 7.8, informal meetings of council reports, agenda page number 25, executive services. The purpose of this report is to provide council with copies of informal meetings of council, previously known as Assembly of Councillor Records, as previously required under section 80A2 of the Local Government Act 1989. Councillors, are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Taylor, what is your motion?
Thank you, Mayor Arnott. I'd just like to move that the record of the informal meetings of council held on the 11th, 17th and 24th of April 2023 be received. Thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for this motion? Councillor Paspaliaris, thank you. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor Arnott.
Councillor Paspaliaris, do you wish to speak to the motion? No. Are there any councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No further speakers. Councillor Taylor, do you wish to close the debate?
No, thank you.
Put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 7.9, Advisory Committee Reports, agenda page number 26, City Growth. This report contains the record of one reference group meeting. Are there any questions before I seek a motion, councillors? No. Councillors, do I have a motion? Councillor Ziegler, what is your motion?
That the minutes of the Economic Development and Tourism Advisory Committee meeting held on the 17th of March 2023 be received.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder for the motion? Councillor Paspaliaris. Thank you. Councillor Ziegler, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Paspaliaris. Are there any councillors who wish to speak to the motion? No. I'll now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Move on to item 7.10, the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report, agenda page number 27, Executive Services. This report summarises Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council activities since the last ordinary meeting, which particularly relate to key social, economic and environmental issues of direct relevance to the Warrnambool community. Are there any questions on this item before I seek a motion? No. Do I have a motion? Councillor Jelly, thank you.
I would like to move the motion that the Mayoral and Chief Executive Officer Council Activities Summary Report to be received.
Thank you. Is there a seconder for the motion? Councillor Ziegler. Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak to the motion? Councillor Ziegler?
Just quickly, Mayor, I take note that one of the functions that's in the particular motion, the 18th of April, the Australian citizenship ceremony with 10 residents becoming new Australian citizens. I think that was a great ceremony, as it always is. But I take heart with the new initiative that the Council has established, wherein the special tree gifts that we make to each of the new citizens, the new citizens were given the option of being able to plant it in council property, so that instead of perhaps not being able to be developed as proper plants, they were given the option of being looked after as council property, and they were able to see that their new trees and bushes were actually going towards the community.
Thank you, Councillor Ziegler. Does anyone else wish to speak on this motion? Councillor Jelly, do you wish to speak before closing the debate? No, thank you. I will now put the motion to the vote. All those in favour? Thank you. Carried unanimously. No notices of motions have been received. We'll move on to item 9, general business. Only items of a minor or routine nature can be raised in general business. The Chair may reject any item that is not of a minor or routine nature or that meets any of the reasons listed in clause 29(2) of the governance rules. Councillors may speak for a maximum of 2 minutes. Council officers will be provided an opportunity to respond or address issues raised. Councillors, are there any items of general business? No, thank you. We'll move on to item 10, urgent business. Urgent business which has not been listed on the agenda for a council meeting that is not of a minor or routine nature can only be admitted as urgent business by resolution of the council. Chief Executive Officer, have you any notices of items for urgent business? No, thank you. We now move on to the closed section of the meeting, and there are confidential items for consideration tonight. Can I have a councillor move a motion to close the meeting to the public? Councillor Jelly, thank you. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Blaine, thank you. All those in favour? Carried. And I therefore declare the meeting closed to the public at 6:38. Can I please ask that those in the gallery now depart the meeting, and can the live streaming